Great, welcome everybody. We're here today with Kate Poole from the Applause Group in today's session, which is an audience with, talking all about the PAA exams. So welcome, Kate. I hope you're well and hope your term's going well. I thought maybe just as the first sort of question, just to give us a bit of an overview about the Applause Group and your current activities.
Yeah, of course. Hi, David. Thank you for inviting me. So we are based in South Wales. We've been running for 12 years now, and we are performing arts school specialising in musical theatre. We go from 4 up to 18, and we run in 2 different areas of South Wales as well. But our ethos is to make performing arts accessible for everybody. To make sure that every young person has the opportunity to be able to access this training, but also access the friendship groups and then everything that comes with performing arts, I suppose.
Brilliant, excellent. And obviously, you're currently delivering PAA exams at your centre. So maybe just a bit of a overview about how you currently arrange, coordinate your exam day. For example, specifically within the musical theatre exam, you've got the show or group performance, then you've got the technical skills demonstration, and also the understanding and reflection part of it. So yeah, just maybe an overview of that and how you're currently finding the process.
Okay, we've actually got some exams in a couple of weeks' time, so yeah, we're in the thick of it at the moment. So from the point of view of the day, what I think has been really great is that when we're booking these exams, Rebecca's really good with being able to allow us to sort of communicate with the timings, to make sure that the day is not rushed is one of the biggest things for us, to make sure that the pupils are able to really enjoy the whole experience rather than sort of coming in, oh, it's your turn, in you go, things like that. But we just have one group there at a time whilst one group is sort of preparing. We're quite lucky in that instance. I book a separate day from when we usually meet, just so I can get that extra time. So for example, we usually meet in the week, but we deliver our exams on the weekend. So yeah, from a point of view of arranging them, we tend to do it in age and class. Like the class that they're in, and sort of break them down into smaller groups. So our classes, thankfully, are large, but we make them into smaller groups for the exam pieces to ensure that they all get the opportunity to be able to perform and have their moment to shine. So we run those, and then we go the technical, and then the reflection and understanding. And to be honest with you, the examiner just leads all of that. I think the biggest thing is just making sure that they know that they'll be, for example, split into 2 groups if there's 2 examiners, and they'll go into the other room for those elements. And I think just the pupils being aware of how that will all work and how that will run, and maybe practicing it, really helps the whole day run.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. And I'm sure there's lots of coordination with getting the students and the parents and that kind of side of it as well, and getting the entries in as a big part of it as well. But yeah, so for those that don't know, so Bex is our PAA exams officer, who you'll basically be in contact with to organise your exam day. And we're really flexible at organising the days, which can be at any point throughout the year.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And really, maybe talking a bit about the value of doing PAA exams and being able to offer this qualification to your students, and particularly the UCAS points which students can access as well. So maybe a bit about how your students value the PAA exams and getting their certificate and being able to present them to them as well.
Yeah, of course. I think, yeah, there's a couple of elements as to why we really value these exams. The first one is, I think they just, as an examining board, is really accessible, really approachable, and seems really up to date with everything, really modern, really enthused about offering young people this experience. So that is what I love generally about PAA, is the fact that I do really think that they are sort of at the forefront and leading the way in making things so accessible for folk, for sort of creative industries, I suppose. But yeah, the qualification is obviously a great thing. To be able to say that they've got a certificate for something is fantastic, and be able to say, especially when the older students, like you just said, have the UCAS point, that is fantastic and such an extra, a value that they bring. However, I think the biggest thing for me is the opportunity that it gives the pupils to have that sense of achievement, to be able to be told that they've done something really, really well. And I suppose I'm not saying all pupils, but a lot of the pupils are creative. Maybe some of them are not so strong in academic work, for example. So maybe they won't have that feeling when they do exams in school, for example. To be able to be rewarded with something that's, the same, to say this is yours because you're so good at being, a performer, and have that and be able to keep it, and to be able to progress through those qualifications as well, like obviously all the way up to sort of grade 8, but then further on with the
Mhm.
obviously diplomas as well if they want to. Um, but they give such a chance for all of the pupils to help boost their confidence. It's not like a really sort of a strict examination where you must do this and you must do that. It really opens up the opportunity to allow them to be themselves, and freedom to be able to express themselves in performance in wherever which way they do. So yeah, I value a lot and everything about PAA, to be honest.
Brilliant. That's great to hear. And I'm sure you've had lots of students, maybe, obviously our first grade is Premier all the way to grade 8s, sort
Yeah,
of seeing them through the years growing and
yeah.
progressing.
We've
Must have been,
got a couple of students, grade 8 now, and we were talking about it last night actually, because the one is she's done every single exam we've done, she's done them all. So yeah, really excited about that. She's our first one to be able to get to the end. So yeah.
yeah, brilliant. And any maybe examples about, group or show? Have you done any? Obviously, we're quite free choice in the repertoire.
Yeah.
Any shows or that stick out to you as worked really well, or
Oh
sort of key
gosh, that's,
performances?
that's a hard question. I just think the biggest thing is finding something that suits that group. That
Mhm.
is the one thing I've learned. I'm not saying we've always had it right. And it's been quite challenging this time. Obviously, a lot of them have done exams before, and we've done shows in between. So we do cover a lot of repertoire. I just think it's something that is going to show those pupils in the best light. So, for example, for my one group, I wouldn't necessarily pick the same show as I might pick for another group, because their attributes and their what they do best is different. But we're doing like Annie, because so it's like an older one, but then we're also doing something like The Wiz, so we're doing a more modern version of The Wizard of Oz. We're doing Sister Act. We're doing Waitress. But what I love is the fact that actually it can be inspired by these things. You can actually mix and collaborate these songs if you want. I personally prefer doing like a smaller musical. I feel like it helps the pupils understand the whole aspect of the examination and be able to refer to the understanding a lot better and with a lot deeper like learning.
Mhm.
But I just think it's what suits your learners the best and what is going to give them the opportunity to be able to shine, and what they
Brilliant.
enjoy. What they enjoy is the
Yeah.
biggest thing. If you captured them on that, then yeah, that's the best thing.
Yeah, I think that really harnesses the values of RSL and what we're all about. So it's really great to hear that.
Yeah.
Um, and also, I guess for anyone out there at the moment that is not currently delivering PA exams, or people that are doing that as well, any maybe best practice that you found, uh, which you could advise to other centres who would like to do their PA exam day? So you mentioned you communicate quite regularly with RSL. So maybe the process, maybe when you're thinking about you need to get ready for your exam, or you've got a preferred
Okay.
date, and maybe the process of that.
I think yeah, there's two elements. So regards to like the process, um, best practice I think is to, I know it's hard, easier said than done, but just try and be organised. What I think the hardest thing for principals is, you sort of say we're doing examinations, everybody's like yeah, we want to do them, then you have to go through that whole process with the parents to be able to actually agree to do it, agree on what grade they're going to do, money, all of those things that go alongside it. And that can be quite challenging sometimes. You can have, some pupils who maybe they're unsure, or they've got something on and they're trying to move it, and it takes a lot of organisation. But I think just being really transparent with RSL, especially Rebecca, sort of saying, this is where I'm at. I've got this many students, whoever, I've got a few more. She's really open. She's really flexible, really approachable. Okay, obviously you wouldn't want to take the mick and the day before be like, oh, I got three more, for example. That wouldn't be fair on anybody. Um, but I think just communicating that, and yeah, just being open and having that line of communication with RSL. And that is what I love again, is the fact that you're able to do that and it's so easy to communicate. Like you send her an email and within a couple of days, even a couple of hours, sometimes you get a reply. Just to
Mhm,
know that you've got that person who you've been liaising with, as opposed to a big team of people, and oh, you know, and you don't sort of get
mhm,
that clarity. So that's one thing I would just say, to try and be sort of really organised and quite not strict at all with it, but you know, sort of give yourself a cut-off point, for example.
mhm,
The other element is something I'm really interested in. The best practice is create, like when you create the piece. Um, I think just making it. I think reading and understanding the syllabus is probably the biggest thing. Although I've been saying how flexible, and you know, you and they give, and RSL give you the freedom, they really, really do. However, it's not really vague. Actually, the syllabus is really clear. It's really thought through. There's an obvious progression from the younger ages all the way up, and this layered, and they add on from what they've learned previously. And what they need to do is really explicit.
mhm,
So I think what I would say for people thinking about doing it who haven't yet is, don't get overwhelmed and think, because I did at the beginning, I don't know if I can do this. This is too much. I don't understand what I have to do. But if you just sort of sit down and read the three elements, you go, oh, actually, that's not as hard as I thought. And now with the change as well, now for the understanding and the reflection, there's a change to the syllabus, isn't there? Again, I'm assuming RSL have taken feedback from principals, which is great, and they've adapted that element to make it a better experience for the learners. So whereas now they're able to pick two questions and they'd be able to prepare their answers beforehand, as opposed to sort of being given the questions, they didn't really know what they were. So I think again that makes the experience better for the pupils. But yeah, don't get overwhelmed, and just really make sure that you've covered every element of the syllabus and you understand it inside and out, I suppose.
mhm. That's brilliant. And also, just for anyone else that's out there, to access our syllabus, you can download it for free on our website. So that's www.rslawards.com, and it's there to access, which you can download, and really recommend you to look through the sort of key documentation and the exam process on there as well.
It's a
I
Bible,
also,
my
yeah.
Bible. Yeah, yeah.
And also, I just thought I mentioned also we've done a partnership with the Schools Me Schools company as well, which we have sort of pre pre scripts audio, which you can purchase on our online shop as well, which I'd recommend to check out as well. Brilliant. Excellent. And also maybe just a bit about how you advertise for your PA exam day to your parents and students. So for example, do you do, sort of mail outs, any social media or anything like that at all, which you find might help with the process at all?
The first thing I do is we have a bit of a plan of what we're going to do in the year. So the parents have a rough idea as we're doing a show or we're doing exams or skills or whatever it is that we're doing. But then when it comes closer to the time when we're about to start, it's just building that excitement with the pupils.
Mhm,
I think if they really want to do it, parents are amazing. Parents just go, yeah, if that's what you want to do, you can do it. So we build that, we boost that, and we start working on it. One of the things I do highlight though is if they don't want to take the exam for any reason, yeah, again, I sound like I'm blowing smoke, but with RSL, the students who are not exam still get the opportunity to perform. So what that does is give us, teachers, it makes it so much easier for us, because if they don't want to perform, they can still be a part of it. They aren't going to be excluded. That's the
mhm,
last thing we would want if they didn't want to be examined, if they weren't ready for it, maybe if they can't financially support it, so they can still be involved. And that's really, really important. So explaining that to the children, but also explaining that to the parents. So then you're right with regards to mail out. That is really how I communicate the most, is through email. And I send a big lengthy email. They're prepared that it's coming with everything that they need to know. And I also link the website. I think it's really important that they can see where the qualification is coming from, so they can give it so they
mhm,
can accredit it themselves and think, oh, actually, yeah, this is professional. And I explain about how it's affiliated with everything, and how the UCAS points. So I think they go, oh, right, okay, yeah, this is legitimate. Do you know what I mean? As
Yeah.
opposed to sort of thinking, oh, well, what's this they're on about then? It's not me giving them a little printed out certificate, for example.
Mhm.
So yeah, send it an email, but I also give them time to consider it and think about it, but then just keep promoting it. And obviously we're working then on the pieces. We're talking about it, the exam all the time. That just creates we only got 2 students who are not doing them out of our 85, who 85 are 2 students out of our older ones are not doing it only because they're new and they just said,
Mhm.
oh, next time, but they still get the opportunity to be in it. Because I think if you as a principal can really explain and show the opportunity that it's going to give them and what it could do for their confidence, if nothing else, and like I said earlier, the sense of achievement, I think you've got the parents captured then.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kate. And also, just a bit about how you prepare your basically your exam venue. So, do you normally do it at your school, which you're doing your teaching out, or do you have a venue, or do you have some people hire a theatre and that sort of thing? And things to think about, like parking, to like equipment, performance space. So, any sort of
Yeah.
advice around that?
So we do it in one of our schools, and we're really lucky to have 2 lovely venues, and we could do them in either, but one is bigger. So we do them in a high school, and again, the reason for doing it on the weekend is that we can get in there longer and it's quicker. But we're in the drama studio and the dance studio, so it's really lovely. We have all the curtains, we have the lights on, we make it really different to their normal classes to give it that extra level of excitement for the exam. Making sure there's enough sort of space for the examiners because I know that they come with lots of paper and stuff to make sure you've got the nice space for table, the chairs. I always give them lots of drink, but I also, if they're there for more than a couple of hours, make sure I've got food and stuff for them as well. It's a long day for them, and we're not really that close to places that you could just go and grab some food. So make sure that that's always on offer. With regards to setting up like music and things, I do it out of the sight of the pupils because, again, only from experience. Um, Even though they know they're not allowed to communicate with you and they know that they're not allowed to look at you in the corner, naturally there's going to be that element of, oh, it's okay, our teacher's in the corner. So by putting them out of the way or at the back, they sort of forget that you're there and they are
Mm.
just in exam mode. So that's one thing I've learned. If that's helpful for anybody, just keeping them out of the sight of the children. They have to think for themselves and they don't maybe rely on you as they possibly may. Um, yeah, we've never hired a theatre, but I'm sure that sounds really exciting. I would just say just making sure that they've got the spaces then, because I'm assuming the majority of people they split the group for the technical and for the understanding because they have different examiners. So just making sure that you've got like the tables and the chairs and all those things set up ready. And if your technical exercises are singing, or if it's like the debut, making sure that you've got a speaker in that other room as well, and somebody else to be able to play that music, just so it runs a bit smoother, really.
Mhm. Brilliant. And I think obviously leading up to the exam as well, I guess really, students can feel a bit nervous. So really, is
Mm.
any techniques you do with dealing with nerves during their exam or just before, um, anything
Yeah,
like that?
that's a good question. Now there is some really good information on the RSL website about that. Actually, yeah, there's some techniques that I've looked at previously, but also in line with that we sort of teach that as a part of our program anyway for shows and things. We teach techniques. I think it's making sure that they're prepared. I think the biggest thing from nerves comes from when they don't. It's the unknown, isn't it?
Mm.
Really making how the day is going to work explicit, ensuring them that the examiners are really friendly, which they are from experience. All the examiners I've had have been really approachable, whereas when I was younger and I did dance exams, they were quite scary. Um, so yeah, so making sure that they know every step, and I think that calms them down. We have a little rehearsal before they go in, and I think it's about the environment that you create before they go in, making sure that
Mm.
it's really calm, but also really happy, really positive and encouraging. But obviously, like I said, there's things on the RSL website, breathing techniques, focus activities and things like that, which are also really
Mm.
beneficial.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kate. And then also, obviously, PA, we have other areas as well, which we offer exams in, things like jazz dance, street dance,
Yeah.
acting or screen acting. Um, have you ever thought about potentially offering those exams? Obviously, you're currently doing musical theatre, but
Yeah.
it could be a nice other area which you might find demand for. Um,
So at the moment, we started teaching the street and the jazz syllabus, but it's new to us. So we haven't this time decided not to go in for the exams, but that is definitely something we're going to do in the future. Um, we haven't started yet thinking about the acting. However, I think it looks really, really interesting. And I think that may be something that we might offer to small groups or to individuals alongside, because the PAA ones for musical theatre really suit us the best. And they all absolutely love them, and that's why they come. However, for example, we do have a lot of students who really like to sing or really like to act, and I think be able to offer those additionally would be really good.
mhm,
And also, I've got one student who is 99% sure that she's going to go on now when she's finished the level 8 to go on to do one of the level 4 grade 8, sorry, go on to do one of the level 4 diplomas
oh, brilliant.
with me as a mentor. So yeah, just seeing the fact that actually they can just keep going.
Mhm,
um yeah, it's lovely because when I started, gosh, about 10, maybe 12 years ago doing these, um, there wasn't as many. So to see the growth of all the different opportunities and the qualifications has been really exciting.
mhm. Brilliant. Thank you very much. And then just lastly, we also have obviously our face-to-face options for exams, and then we've also can offer the digital exams. So we can do recorded digital exams as well as live streamed. So it's just, I guess, just good to know that we've got those options there if you ever need those to think about. But obviously, you've got your face-to-face session coming up this summer.
Yeah. Yes, we do. And I think it's fantastic that, um, RSL adapted, especially through the pandemic, to be able to still give these young people the opportunity to be able to still keep giving them the chance to perform and get a qualification in these uncertain times. Um, for me, I personally love the face to face. I think the good nerves and the adrenaline and having an examiner come to your centre is really fantastic. But I can also see the massive benefits. Say, for example, if COVID hit your school or something like that, or, if you lived in a different part of the world. Um, Basically, I think they've covered all grounds, and I think anybody are able to access these examinations, which is amazing.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Kate. That was
My
absolutely
pleasure.
a pleasure to speak with you today and learn a bit more about the applause group and your activities with RSL. So thank you all for watching this, and we hope to speak to you again soon. Thank you.
No worries. Bye. Thank you.